Speaking of things worth trying, we've got our layer styles. Layer styles, typically they are special effects or effects that are added to text layers, but you can add them to image layers as well. You'll find yourself using them the most on text layers, but again, they can be applied to literally anything. There you can see the FX. That's what you'll click to try to open this up and try different things. With the text, a lot of folks will go with the stroke. I'm a big fan of that. You've got some bevel and emboss, inner shadow, inner glow. Drop shadow is a typical broadcast way to make your text stand out. All of these things are ways to make your text stand out. We're going to go back to my example in a moment, and you'll see just how kind of flat it looks against that background. Adding these layer characteristics adding these layer styles will make them pop out a little bit. So once again, I'm back to my very rudimentary background. I've got my this is stuff layer. I want to move him around a little bit, bring him front and center. I also want to make him bigger, just so we can really see it. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to take him up to about 120. There he is. I'm going to click away. This more stuff is a little distracting, so I'm going to turn him off for the time being. So what I'm going to do here is go to the eye, and now I don't see him anymore. And then also just as a refresher for the layer stacking, since this one is on top, if I were to move him, it would cross over and be on top of the this is stuff that way. Or I could go here and move this way, and the opposite is true. Now this is on top. This is not a super great example as I have a green lettering for both of them, but you'll kind of see where I'm going with this. So we'll get rid of more stuff. It's not gone. I didn't delete it. I didn't kill it. I'm just not looking at it right now. I can always do the same thing for my background layer, but this is frustrating. So we'll turn that guy back on. And then with this layer highlighted, I'm going to go to the effects. And I'm going to just take a look at some different things. Like I said, first and foremost, I like the stroke, so I'll throw that on there. And hopefully you just saw it popped up right there. So this is the position with it on the outside. This is the color, right? So I can make it a lot bigger. That's way too big. That's no fun. I usually like to keep it kind of tight, like 4 or less. But that's when this is on the outside. I can always put it on the inside. Or I can always put it in the center. I can change the opacity of it, which means it'll be a little lighter. Now it kind of has that stamp feeling to it, which I like sometimes. And then obviously you can always change the color too. Instead of black, you can go to what's going to be obnoxious. Yeah, this is pretty obnoxious. Purple. There you go. Now I've kind of got some Joker situation going on. But now hopefully you can see the difference between this as it was before and where it's at now. If you're ever unsure, you can always hide these as well. I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to turn this off. And now it looks kind of plain Jane. And now it looks just a little bit more fun. So I'm going to hide this guy for a second. I'm going to bring more stuff back up. This is still all crazy, but again, I've got my effects here. Maybe I'm going to try the old drop shadow. This is old reliable for broadcasters. Right now, hopefully you saw it pop up. There's just a little bit of a shadow to it. It's like that, like the sun was shining on this, and it has that kind of shadow, soft effect to it. I've still got black here, but I can create the distance. Now the shadow is very far away. The trick with this is to not get it too far away so that it's separate words. That's kind of silly usually. So you like to keep it maybe a little bit tighter. You can change the spread. Sometimes it's very thick now. You can also change the size, make it spread out more like that way. You can even change the angle. You can see as if the sun was right here, it's shining this way. There is our shadow. If you grab this, now it's going to be up there instead. So the drop shadow gives you tons and tons of options as well, and of course you can change the color. That's just hideous, so ugly that I have to use it. So again, get out there, try these things out, try different stuff, try different things. See this one now, this one's on top. Now if I move this, then this one becomes on top once again because of all the way that my layers are stacked. Lastly, we'll talk about saving. So the different ways to save something right now, we're just going to keep saving things as a .psd. That's a Photoshop document. That means that if you double click on that, that will open up Photoshop and it will give you all of your layers and everything that you need to create things in Photoshop. As opposed to saving this as a JPEG or a .png, that will just give you the finished product. So if you're going to try to email me something, your work, or try to email a colleague this final product, you would email them the .png or you'd email them the JPEG. If you're keeping something for yourself, you want to keep it as the PSD. That way when you double click on something, it always opens things up in accordance with Photoshop and can give you all of your layers, all your layer styles, all of that stuff, so that you can adjust it.